Hello, welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well. Let's make things set up. Hey, Blender Unwrapped. Hey, Stephen, Conroy, welcome. Good to have you guys. Thanks for joining. Hello, M1X2C3 over on Twitch. Good to have somebody over on Twitch. You're amazing. Hope you're all doing well. We're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna do the final lighting setup and do our initial sort of final export setup for the first scene of Dump Run. Very excited to be doing this. It's going to be really good. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm gonna go turn off the splash image. There we go. Welcome back to Blender. Oh, you like that, Matthew? It was some cool music. Hey, it's from artlist.io. There's a link in the description of this video. If you want to get 2 months free, you can use that. And that's a great way. So I get all my sound effects and music from there. So if you're doing like the Epic Space Battle series or something like that, and you want the same music or the same sound effects that I used, you can get your 2-month free trial, go there, download them all, and then use them and have rights to them, which is really awesome that they do that. And if you want to continue on the subscription, if enough people do it, I get a kickback, which is a great way to help the channel. Well, I mean, they don't charge me for my subscription, but no one's actually signed up through it, so I haven't gotten anywhere towards that, but I've seen quite a few people have gotten the free stuff, so that's good. So hopefully we'll be able to use that. Anyways, hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a lovely evening. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, I've got chat way over here. I need to move you guys a bit closer so it doesn't look like I'm staring off into space. All right, welcome. Hey, Stallby's Oreo, good to see you. Welcome, good to have you. Yeah, long time. Oh, thanks, Margaret. Thanks for checking out the CG Cookie video yesterday. Yeah, it was a really, really crazy one. If you haven't seen it yet on CG Cookie, I've just put out this video with them where we create fish scales using geometry nodes. It's nuts. It's very, very complicated. It took me ages to figure out how to do it. I'm waiting in the comments. Someone's going to tell me to do it simply anyways. All right, so let's pick up where we left off. I'm going to go ahead and switch to render view. This is the same scene file that we had before. And if you remember, we were working through our lighting setups. Now, just so you guys know, kind of big picture, not everybody watches these live streams. These live streams are not very popular on the channel. Understandably, they're kind of a big commitment to watch all this stuff, and each one's pretty long. And so I'm hoping to do some compilation videos where I take all the content from these live streams and kind of boil it down into a very short, condensed video where I can just talk about the principles, because I want to get some of this stuff out there. So there's some concrete teaching in this, so we can talk about, what is layout, how do you do it well, how to think about lighting, so that you can apply it to any short film. Because right now it's just kind of been watching me do it on this film, which is a great way to learn, but sometimes it's easier if you can get a hold of some principles to apply for yourself. So I hope you really enjoy it. Yeah, good to see everybody. Thanks for piling in, everybody. It's good to see all the viewers. I've been going through the YouTube blues a bit lately. It happens every now and then when you're a creator on YouTube and you watch your views tank, for some reason. And mine have been doing that a bit lately. So all my videos, everything I've been putting out, trends really poorly and everything. So I've got a bit of the YouTube blues. I'll be honest. I gotta shake it off. I need to find a way to block all the back end information so I don't see it, so I can just stay happy, keep plowing. Because I don't do this for the views. At least that's what I try and tell myself. All right. Anyways, let's keep going. Okay, so now I wanted to update you guys. I was looking at this yesterday. I popped it over and just kind of think about what we would do next. And I kept establishing wide, because remember, we've got these different collections for each of our lighting setups. And I had establishing wide turned on, and I left it on when I kind of previewed things. And I actually really liked this look. I loved this shot especially, and I liked it better than what we did for it. So if we turn this off, let me switch to peek out. This is the lighting setup we had for the shot. And I just don't like it as much. I feel like this one is just way more interesting. And it's a really interesting example, I think, of how different lighting setups have different moods and different feels, right? This is a very different feel, right? But what I really like about it is this blue and this orange are contrasting colors. They look really good together on screen because they're opposites on the color wheel. And I don't know, I just really clicked with this. I looked at this and thought, this is a nice image. And then when I realized I was looking at the wrong one and switched it, I thought, oof, that doesn't look half as good. So I really like this a bit better. So I think I want to actually use this color scheme and this lighting setup for a lot of these. I might even just alter it a tiny bit. Like I don't like this hot spot. I need to pull this off, but I like it here. There's something about like the way it kind of unifies everything. So I'm thinking I'm going to run with this lighting setup for these shots. So we're still going to have our, I'll switch that one off and we'll go to the POV. We'll still use this one for our POV shot. So they march off, and then we come back to him. We will use this. We'll do an altered version of the establishing wide. And then we're going to do our final setup here for this bit right here, which I use the same establishing wide as kind of a base for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to build on it. So we'll take this shot here, and I'll go ahead and create a version of this where we don't have this hotspot. So I'm going to select this collection. And what I want to do is I'll use this same naming convention. So I'll just right click this collection and I'll select objects. And what that'll do, if I open this up, you see it selects all the objects in that collection. Actually, easier than that is just to go duplicate collection. And that'll create a brand new collection now with everything. So what I want to do is turn off this original one, and I'm going to get the name right. So this is going to be peek out. I'll copy this and I'll paste it. And this time what I'll do is I'll go underscore v2. So this is the version 2 of this, and I'll order it, right? I'll drag it down so it's in the right order. So now I've got peek out and peek out v2. Just so it's really clear for me to know what I'm doing as I look through this, if I've got to go back in later. So anyways, doing well, Casey. Thanks. How are you? Hope you're doing well. And Felfurion says relation videos would be amazing. Oh, good. I really hope that would be good. So yeah, we'll see. I'll planning on maybe doing some like narration over them or something. I don't know. V Ammonite says, I started making short films and from these tutorials, and then I saw how much work it was to compile. Yeah, it's a lot of work to do a short film. That's definitely true. I always feel like I'm biting off more than I can chew. All right, so the other thing I don't like is this hotspot, but I do like having the light like on this stuff. So it's kind of tricky. How are we going to get it so it's not really on the ground as much? Now, what I can do is I can come to the light settings and I can control the specular. So I can say, all right, I don't want it to be so bright on the specular. We can turn it down, but I'll lose that shininess that I like there on the side. I could, let's find it. Let's grab, oh, I've got a new keyboard, by the way. It's a mechanical one, so it's all chunky and you'll probably hear my keystrokes a bit. Hope you don't mind. Maybe my, maybe it's canceled. I don't know. We'll see. So grab this and grab Z, and we can go up with it, right? And that'll get that hotspot off the floor. That actually looks pretty good. Let me grab, let's grab Y, and let's push it around a bit and just kind of see what else we could get. I could pull it back some. Just want to avoid super bright hotspots. Let's pull it up out of frame. Let me get it out of frame. And let's try rotating maybe on the X a touch. So it's like pointing forward. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. It looks pretty good. So now let's see, what does this look like as we move forward? Let's push this forward a bit. Still, it's a little bit in frame. I'll just come up a bit further. Yeah, that looks a lot cleaner. It comes over here. Now, I don't like the way this is looking as much. So we might do one more, maybe one more setup for this close-up. Although they're not really going to see it on the, Would be nice to have one that works for all of these. Maybe if we rotate Y, let's take the distance up. We'll do custom distance, and we'll just drag this out to expand it. See if that gives us anything. Grab Y, I'll bring it forward. The other option is we could possibly just move it till I feel like I'm hitting stuff. Oh, it's kind of nice getting that hotspot on his head. Look at that. It's a bit bright though, isn't it? Bring it back a little bit. Now it acts like a nice rim light. So remember the principle of lighting, you kind of want to have a fill, a key, and a rim. Those are the three things to making lighting look good, but it's also a lot about just painting with light. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Let's just switch back to the other one. We'll just have a quick look at the difference. So peek out version, oh, that's right. It's not peek out, it's establishing wide. So yeah, I still like this one best here, but I don't want that hotspot. So, okay. Let's try again with that setup. Let's where do we have to go to get this to hit in the same way? I may have to let's just get rid of that light and we'll grab this one. We'll shift D to duplicate and then we'll move it to, is that the right one? No, it's the master light setup. Not what I meant to do. Close that. I wanted this one, establishing wide. Shift D to duplicate, and we're gonna hit M to move, and we'll take that one and we'll move it into peek out V2. And again, we'll hide that collection. So, okay. We could try, yeah, rotating it's really not getting it off of this. If we go further, like along the X, do we lose it all completely? Not entirely. We could use custom distance maybe, drag this out. Rotate Y. Does give us some. Shrink the size down. Yeah, that's a little bit better. This shot's maybe a bit weird. So if we tuck it there behind that leg. Now it's a bit too hot here. Let's just take the specular down overall. Also take the size up, and that'll spread it out. Oops, not that much. Size up. Yeah, I think that looks good. That's an all right compromise. I almost don't mind it for the whole thing. I mean, if you compare this to this, oh no, establishing wide does put the nice blues in there. Cool. Now, one thing I feel is, let's see, we have this bright bit on the front of our guy here, and then we cut here, and there's not a lot on him. I do want to bring that forward. So I'm going to try and find the light that's giving me that. Here, this one here. I might bring it forward a bit. These guys aren't completely lost. And then maybe back it off a little bit. Doesn't need to be so bright that it like overtakes the scene. And I'll turn off all my controllers. It's a bit easier to see. It's nice getting that little bit of the light reflection in his eye there. You can see if I change the size, we're going to get a different size pinprick. Okay, this light's doing a lot for us here, so we may have to break this up like one more time. So we'll get this one. Looking good. So instead of peak out, this is going to be the name of whatever camera we're working on right now. So this is marching wide profile. Let's copy that, come down here, and I'll paste that and underscore v2 because I like this better than marching wide. And then I'll just take this, duplicate collection, turn that one off. Hope this is making sense how I'm working through this. I'm going to grab peak out. And I will rename this one peak out underscore version 2 version 2. There it is. And we'll put this right here. Awesome. All right, great. And with this one, what I want to do is, let's find that light again. There you are, right here. Okay, great. So this is the one we're going to use for the peak out shot. So I can bump things up a little bit here, just so he's a little bit brighter. Yeah, see how much that helps kind of fill out him for this scene. It also gives us that nice pinprick on his eye there. We can change this from square to disc. That'll give us like a round circle in his reflection there. Which looks quite nice. Helps him feel like really alive if you've got that kind of a little pinprick. All right, so this is what we look like in this shot. And then in this shot, we've got that one. Okay, and I'm gonna pump into here, version 2. It's maybe just a touch too hot. Now, the thing I'm worried about is right here, the shot. I don't have much separation between the droid and the background. So like, you see how there's like, it's kind of all the same color. Yeah, I think it might be the volume. Could be, I'll just taper the volume down on this one a little bit just to try and cut it. And we might need to throw some kind of rim on him for this light. Let's see. Yeah, duplicate this one and rotate. Get it right up on him and then bring the heat down on it. So this is what I was talking about with the rim. So you see how functionally what it does is it separates the character from the background. Jumps in. I might want to fade it as we jump away so it's not, because it's making this pretty intense. We'll pull this. Actually, I'll pull the volume up on this one because it's kind of nice. It separates them a little bit better. And then when we get to here, I think we need to back it off. So let's take it, and from here, I'm actually going to animate off this light. So I'm going to keyframe there, and then I'm just going to pull it back, keyframe there. I'm going to switch back to my dope sheet and right click, and just to make sure these guys are set to Bezier. And I don't think we'll notice that. Yeah, that'll just give us that little bit of separation. That'll work. Sorry, let me exit Steam so you don't keep getting expand. Great. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we got peek out v2. Now let's see, when we get over to here and he cuts in, what is going to work out for us? Yeah, I didn't like peek out that one. That one's not going to work. We're going to need a variation of peek out v2. So let's take this one, let's duplicate this collection. And again, we're going to turn that one off. And this is going to be fall. So copy that, come right down here, paste that. So this is our fall lighting setup. And let's figure out what this hotspot's coming from. So it looks like it's this point light thing. So we can, if we could use this. It's quite nice. We put this light right here. It's kind of a cheat. And we don't really want it on yet, do we? Because this thing, like, is we do want to kind of brighten up the space a little bit. So it's kind of nice. I feel like it's way too hot right over here. So let's find the culprit. Which one is it? There it is. This guy. We could probably just pull the specular off. I wonder if this one should have a little bit of blue in it. Nope. Keep it like that. All right, so how does that cut with the previous shot? Yeah. I feel like it's a little too dim now. Let's get this one back in. We can get away with this light like in shot, you know, it's because it's large enough. Make the size a little bit bigger. Definitely a bit better. He's gonna go to sleep and the light's gonna cut on. Yeah, we should really figure that out. All right, let's get this figured out. I'm gonna get this material here. Where is the light bulb? It's interesting. Bulb has no material on it. Data, is this it? Emission, yeah, emission string 39. Yeah, cool. So which one is this? All right, this is one of the tricky things with overrides and materials. Can be a little bit confusing. But I'm going to shift click this, and that will turn it into a local override. So that arrow means now this is an overrided data block, a linked file that's been overridden. And now what I can do is I can get access to these controls. So I'm going to turn the light off and decide where I want to animate it on. It's going to go to sleep and play right about here. That pop back on. Is this going to give me grief? It is going to give me grief. All right. Let's shift S, cursor to selected. And actually, let's just take this thing and we're going to make it local. So with it selected, I'm going to go make local, selected object, selected objects, data, and materials. There we go. So now it's no longer has that little clip icon anymore with it. So this means this is a local thing. And now I should be able to like keyframe it without any issues. All right, and let's see, where is that material? Sometimes you can't select materials unless you actually go to the shader editor and select the node that you've got a keyframe on, and then you can see it pops up. It's a little bit of a bug, I think. Now, should we have this thing flash? That could be cool. Let's do that. Let's make it like, making it like blinking. So what we're going to do there is we're going to grab a value node, and we'll grab the, so I'll do pound frame to grab the frame number. We need to get a math node, set this to sign, plug this into the value, and then we need to get another math node, drop this here, set this to multiply, and I'll make this small for now. And then, it's funny doing this at the top corner. Sorry, everyone. How will you follow along? I should also turn on screencast keys. I just realized I don't have them on. Okay, so we're going to take this sign value now, and what it does, if we plug it into the emission strength, it will basically make it go, should go up and down. Yeah, see how it's doing it? Blink, blink. Let's see what frequency it's doing it. Yeah, it's pretty fast. So it's slow it down, 0.5. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now I need to make it really, really bright. So I need to go for another math node, and we'll drop this here, switch this to multiply, and then let's multiply by 10. That'll make it actually bright. 30. Yeah, that's cool. And we also need to be able to turn this off because we don't want it on the whole time. So just pick the point where we want it to turn on, and instead of keyframing it, like we originally had, what we'll do is we'll just take this value here and we'll set it to 0. So the emission strength is 0 and it doesn't flash at all. Then we go forward a few frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll set this back to 30. Set a new keyframe, right click those guys, set them to Bezier. We also need to drag them back a bit. And there we go. So now it's flashing and the timing works so that it wakes him up. Now we need a light to kind of, you know, coincide with it. So what we need to do for that is we need to create a driver that's going to grab the emission strength. Create outputs for, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, like working in such a tiny, it's really funny. Outputs. Can I create an output? Did it not show up there? Show up in custom properties? Nope. Huh, not really sure. Is there a, oh, there's an AOV output, group output, material output. Nope. Okay, let's leave that. We could just create this equation as a driver. That could work. C4K, thanks for joining. Adios. Yeah, there's a plus icon, but I can't figure out Ash Frank art where, like when you click this and it creates the output, where does it exist? You know, usually I would expect it to appear here, like in the list, but it doesn't. It's a group node thing, so I think that's the problem. We're not working in a group node. Are there any over here? Nope. That's all right. So if I want a light to follow this, and I can't grab that value, what I want to do is get this to basically, what are we doing? We're taking the frame number, we're multiplying it by 0.5, then we're calculating the sine of it, and then multiplying that by another value. So think. What we could do is just flip this around and do it on the light instead, because the light will give us value. So if I take this guy, right, let's do the same thing, but just do it like typing it in as a driver. So I'm going to go pound to create a driver. It's the shortcut. And we wanted to get the frame number. And we want to multiply that by 0.5. I'm going to put that in parentheses. And pretty sure we could just go like that, right? Or so is that right? All right, so it's working, but and we multiplied that by 30, but I don't think this is going to actually work because we need to map the range. Delete that driver. How else could I do this? I could just set a keyframe on the power. This is probably the easier way. And go over to the graph editor, open it up, go to modifiers, drag this up, a bit more room, add a modifier, and we'll go for a built-in function, sine. And let's see, where is it? There's the keyframe. Where is it? All. Getting some weird behavior there with my clear keyframes. Set it to 0. Keyframe that. There's the keyframe. Power. Add modifier. Built-in function. There it is. All right. Don't know why that was working. Now I want to offset this so it never goes in the negatives. So value offset up to here. Now, why is it not working? Is it because the amplitude's not high enough? Or is this just break lights? Oh no, there we go. Now we're getting high enough. It's just our numbers weren't big enough. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, let's go to 650. Actually, let's go half that. 325. And then the value offset, I'm going to bring it up so that these guys at 325, which will put them right at the base. So it goes to 0 and then up. Yeah, cool. Now what I can do is I can right click on this and copy as new driver, because see, I can get a hold of these numbers here now. So I can actually copy them as a driver. That'll give me the flexibility now to go into this shader, and let's actually just do this properly, shader editor. And then instead of where's our bulb, there it is. Where's our material? Oh, that's right, object shader. That's what we're missing. Now instead of all this, what we can do, we can unplug that, grab these guys, and then clear those keyframes so we can right click and we can paste driver. So now these numbers are in sync. So as we scrub through the timeline, they're going to be doing what we want. This is going way too intense. So we need to just put one step in between these, come to this value node, paste the driver into here. And now let's grab a math node, and then what we can do is plug the value in, set this to multiply, and now we can sort of scale it basically. So instead of being so bright, we can get it to look right there. Yeah, cool. Now we just need to adjust the frequency of this light because it's just crazy fast. So let's go back to our graph editor, and we need to do the phase multiplier. We'll drop that down to 0.1, 0.3. Doesn't feel urgent enough. Let's go 0.5. That's good. All right, now what we want to do is turn it off. You can't keyframe these values when you're using a modifier, but you do get this thing called the influence. And we can use this. We can also restrict the frame range. That's probably a good idea. So let's turn this on. We want to start at frame. Where is it? He goes to sleep. What's going on? I thought he... Did I move one of my markers? I did, didn't I? So we were on this shot for a lot longer originally. So he looks up. Yeah. So let's start it at 352. And I'll just set it to like 1,000. So we just kind of want it to go on forever. And blending in, no need to blend it in. Just kind of start it. Cool. Now, do we want this thing to be a light like this? Should it be a point light? And we put it right over our light like this. So I did kind of like the area light look. It's a bit softer, making this all quite big. It's a bit weird with that shadow. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I kind of like it anyways. Now we want to have a light down here. So go cursor to selected, shift a light, and do another area light. Rotate it around like this. Grab X. Crank it right up. Bring it down. And what color do we want to go for this? This color does kind of determine what the trash compactor area is going to be like in some ways. I'll go for blue for now because it contrasts. I don't know if it makes sense, but so now you can see what's nice is that as this thing opens, we're going to get this cool, these shafts. $3,000 maybe. Now we can keyframe it so that we don't have that bright cut. So it's like that's the first frame that we have the light, or maybe this could be the first frame. So we go I, back one frame, and then set this to 0. Set the keyframe. Yeah, that works. I still feel like this is too hot. So let's see. Let's take that light right here, this one, and I'm going to bring the volume down a touch. And let's see. keep the specular up. It's just the shader. Let's go back to the shader. And let's multiply this by 0.05, 0.02, 3. That's pretty good. What's going on with the timing? Why did that move again? Must be just continually grabbing it without realizing it. Seems a bit odd to me. Now we don't have much time at all for this final cut. Oh, look, there's two of the same camera. No, that's not it. You guys seen what I did? Anybody notice? Just a bit curious why it's. Sneaks back in. It's nice. I like it. Yeah, cool. Now we do need a little bit more light because this is way too dark. So let's go ahead and grab one more. Let's head to our lighting area. Let's also, I want to make sure that we put the underneath light in there. Yeah, good. All right, let's create one more area light and probably come up with it. Just moving around, having a look. It's nice catching that on him. Might go custom distance and see what we can do to cut the light maybe, or expand it to get that back wall a little bit more. It's quite nice on there. Maybe Shift-D, grab one more and grab this one like way up. Shift this color a little bit. Down. Just want to get a little bit of something up there. Think about his legs now. I'm just curious if I can get something maybe off camera. I always hide these lights by turning off the volume. It'll allow us to get things in a bit closer if we need. Put a light in there. Thanks, Ash Frank Art. Really appreciate it. Ash Frank says, got to get back to work, but I love everything you do, forever motivating me to do better in my own art. Thanks so much. Really appreciate that. Thanks, man. Thanks, Lionel. Appreciate it. Says, nice, man. Nice. Hey, we got 5 people on Twitch. That's exciting. Nice. Hello, Twitch. I think this light's helping. I think this is doing something for us. Probably a bit too much, but if I pull it back, it's a little bit better maybe. That custom distance can be really useful. Now I'm using it as kind of a rim light. I'm just experimenting with what that looks like. So you can use that custom distance to really just hit him, and like get it off of all this stuff I wanted. But I do think it's nice having a little bit of light over there. It's that blue color that's really going to set him out in the scene anyways. Yeah, I think this is good. I'll probably look at it all tomorrow and go, nope, throw it out. Great. All right, I'm going to save this. Okay, so next step, what we're going to do is, if we've got all of our lighting setups, we're all good to go. These two need to be in. Select M, hit M. We're going to move these 2 lights fall. There we go. Cool. All right. What we need to do is break this whole thing out now into separate scenes. That was the plan. So let's see if this works. I'm going to go File, Save. I need to just have a quick look at the compositor. I'm going to click on Use Nodes, and I'm going to get some outputs going. So Shift A, File Output. And this is where I'm going to basically set all the different renders out to different outputs. And I'm going to set different scenes here with different render layers. So if this is all new to you, I'll try and explain this as I go a little bit so it makes some sense. But anyways, let's take the first shot. This is going to be establishing wide. So I'm going to copy the name of that camera. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click this button and we're going to make a, what do I want to do? Do we want to do full copy? I can't remember what was the plan. If it was linked copy and I turn collections on and off, they don't maintain, right? If I go linked copy and I come down here and I turn off full and I turn on establishing wide, and then I go back to master scene. Okay, good. So that works. I think that's all I need to do. Because thinking, if I go back over to master scene 01 and let's say we delete the second camera, I'll put my frame. Actually, I'll delete the first camera. Sorry, not delete keyframes, delete marker. So now we no longer have that marker. We come here. We still have it here in the master scene. Great. Then what about render settings? We're going to need to set these appropriately. Screen space reflections. That's all good. Half res trace. I could maybe turn that off. And then volume metrics. I could turn the tile size up or down. I mean, that'll give us more realistic volumetrics. And then don't worry about volumetric shadows, not wanting that. Cube size, I'm going to turn this up. I don't want this to like kill my scene, but cascade size, I'm just going to max everything out. Soft shadows is good. Indirect lighting, we're not going to do indirect lighting. Film, filter size, so we don't have to worry about this because we're not doing transparent. Simplify, nope. Color management, sRGB, view transport and standard, look none, that's correct. We want to keep all that as is, don't want to be doing anything to it. And we're not going to be doing any compositing on this directly because it's just faster, I think, to work on like high quality PNGs and composite with those as opposed to doing it straight in here, although we could do it in here. I'm not sure there's a lot that I want to do this, to be honest. It all depends on how fast it takes. Also want to turn on motion blur. And anything else? Background separation. Yes, there is actually. What is it? Performance. Screen space. Depth of field. Here we go. Yeah, high quality defocus and jitter camera. Those are both turned on. Great. All right. And this should be enough samples as well. Cool. So all those settings are set now. I don't think that will carry over. If I go to scene 1, does that come over? Yeah, half res trace is turned on. So we need to get rid of this one again. Just come back to here. We'll do it all from here again because I want all those to be the same. And output's not really going to matter. So that will be this one here. And then I'll set everything else in the compositor. We don't want the sequencer because we don't want our storyboards to overwrite. Okay, cool. 20 frames a second, frame start end. Yep, that's all good. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna turn off render mode as well, just so things can move a bit quicker for us. So we're gonna do establishing wide. I'm gonna double click this, and I'm just gonna go through and basically create a linked scene. So linked copy, and I'll paste this as the name. And with this one, I'm going to make sure that this is the active light, and then I'm going to go to the point where I cut right here, 59, and I'll go back one frame, and I will make this the end of my timeline, so 58. I also go here and I will beta box select all these markers and hit X to delete. So we just have the one camera in this. And the reason for this is it means if I wanted to, I could get like some handles on this. So in an edit, if I wanted to, I could render a bit of extra stuff, because you can see our scene plays out fine, even from this angle. And that might help me with my edit. I'm not going to worry about that just yet until I get everything in place. Okay, so that's all good. So anyways, okay, now that we've got this set, what I can do is if I go back to my master scene, you can see all this timeline stuff stays the same. And what I can go here is I can shift D to duplicate render layer, and I can grab the establishing wide, and I can output that image over here. And I can grab node properties, and I can set this all up. I'm going to open up this, and I'm going to do this in renders. So accept that. And I do want to give a folder name for the shot itself. So each of these shots, I want to have like their own names. So I'll paste the name of the camera. And then I'll do another backslash that should automatically create that folder. I'm going to go PNGs. I don't need alpha, so because we don't have any transparency. So I'm just going to do RGB. That'll save me a bit. I can do 16-bit colored, and then it'll give me a little bit more grading room. This will make the file sizes a lot bigger. And then I need to change my file subpath to the name here. That will use this as the name of the file. And I need to put an underscore here, because then it's going to add in the image sequences. So what we're going to do is an image sequence, which basically means it renders each frame as a separate file. And then we can bring all those in as an image sequence. And it just gives us a bit more flexibility. And it's a much higher quality render. So there we go. Save as render, blah, blah, blah. Use node format. This is all good. Great. Now let's see if this works. I'm going to go ahead and create another linked copy. And this one, I'm going to use the next camera. So I'll come here, copy, paste this as my scene name. And then I will go down, find my lighting setup. So I'll turn that one off. We're going to be doing this one. That matches. Yep. And then I want to get my start and end frames set correctly. So we're going to go 59. And then over to this one here. And 123. 123. 59. Right? Yep. And then I will get rid of the extra markers. There we go. And all good. Now I can go back up to my master scene and Shift D to duplicate. Come here, and we are going to grab the second camera. Shift D to duplicate. Connect this up. Go to here, and now we can just change these. So I can paste in the new camera name there and there. That will create a new folder with that name, and all the render files will have that name as well, and it keeps all the other settings. Looking good. All right. So at this point, my render should work. These guys should only render those frames. Let's see if that works. I'm kind of testing a theory, this workflow. I'm not entirely sure. And what about this one? This is going to do the master scene, which I don't actually want to render anything out of this. I just want to render these guys. So how do I want to manage that? Can I just get rid of this node? Like, do you have to have that for this to work? Let's save this. Save as, I'm going to call this, instead of L for lighting, we're going to do R for render. And one. Let's just see if this breaks. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Render animation. Okay, we only made it from, so our render scenes are like crazy. Oh, and master scene doesn't have a, okay, so that is a bit of an error. All right, we did get something though. Look, see, we got a render layer here and nothing here. Interesting. This should have been Let's see if anything's saved out to our directories. There's nothing in here. Those folders didn't actually create. Okay, so I don't think we ever got anywhere. Let's add in the master scene render layer. And composite, we will put the composite node in. Thing is, the composite node is not really going to work for us because it's going to save out whatever is in here, and this is just going to be the whole thing of establishing wide, so it won't look right. We still need to do something with the directory here, though. So we can grab the render and accept that, and then master, I'll just call it that, and master underscore, that should do it. So this output is always the one that's associated with your composite. I'm also going to turn down my render settings because I feel like we're just testing, so I don't need to max everything out just yet. Shadows, take these guys back down, 512. Let's do 512, 512. That should be fine. Let's see, that's still pretty fast? Yeah, that's fast. All right, let's try this again. Render, animation. Okay, so we got one frame. Okay, something's hanging it up. I don't know what it is. Let's have a look. I'm going to double check. Short film, scenes, hallway, renders. Okay, so it did make. So it made the folders for us. Establishing wide has this frame here, which is the first frame. Matching profile also has a frame, but it's not the correct frame start for this one. So it's actually rendering it from that camera from the beginning. So it's ignoring the timeline settings that we've got. Yeah, it's rendering it from this shot, not from this moment here, which it should be. Okay, so that theory is not going to work. I just thought maybe it would. Unless you can't set anything specific in terms of frame ranges within different render layers, can you? Options, performance, to pass, buffer, open up. Base color. No, it doesn't look like it. Damon Pig, how are you? I do remember you. That has been a long time. Hope you're doing well. Okay. And this one, does this take the render settings from that first set? Yeah, it does. Okay. That's why it was getting hung up. Interesting. So it was taking the render settings from here, but it wasn't taking frame start and end point. That's really weird. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter a whole lot with all this. So what I should do then is I'll get rid of these. Back to my master scene. And I'll get rid of these as well. And what I can do is I can just set these up each scene and just render from each scene, which is totally fine. It's a little bit annoying not being able to just hit render once and let the whole thing go off. but I don't really want to render every frame with from every camera. Still, I mean, it could work. I feel like I'm missing something though. There's got to be a way. To render a certain frame range. I mean, I could do it from sequencer, technically. I think I'd have to create a separate scene that's just like an edit of all of them, and it's this like assembly scene. Well, let me know in chat if anybody knows of a way of doing it. So it could be really, really cool. There's no like frame range node, is there? No, it's just a frame. Uh, anyways, doesn't really matter. You get the idea of what it is how we're going to do this and how it's all going to work. Um, it's pretty straightforward. So we don't really need to use nodes. We're doing this way. Anything else that we do need? If I have to duplicate for every scene. I mean, I may not need to actually break these out. It'd be good to have the same settings. What if we did linked is the only thing, yeah. Full copy will duplicate everything, but it won't be linked anymore. So if I want to have like, so there's no way to have like a master settings. Like I can't just tweak the settings here and have it apply to all of them. That doesn't work. Should be kind of annoying if you get like 20 shots and you want to change a render setting. You got to do it in all of them. Unless there's a way of like view layers doesn't give me this thing. Settings. Sorry, this is really boring viewing for you guys. None of those are going to give it to me. Let's try this again. So if I'm in my master scene and I'll just go ahead and let's say we've got the render settings set up the way we want them to. Post processing, composite output, frame range. Come up to here. These are all fine. Okay, cool. That's all fine. Yep. All right. So if I create a linked copy, the way it could be, if I did it like I was doing it before, I could then just render certain frame ranges. The other way is I could set the frame ranges for each shot, set the collection for each shot, set it all up, and then save each of those as separate Blender files, and then you can just like queue them up and render them. Is there a way to render, let's just say like render every scene? There really isn't, is there? Active scene. Start rendering. Yeah, it does. And there's no nodes that I don't know of that is gonna. So book, image, mask, movie, clip. Render there's a particular time. No, that's a weird node. Why would that be? Curve. Huh. Track position, value, output, composite, final output, split viewer, viewer, color, converter, filter, vector, distort group layout. Nope. None of those. And it wasn't hiding in the file output, was it? Properties, all this stuff, this input. Gosh, that would be so cool if Blender had this, because man, it would make this really, really work. I thought I had this figured out. Anyways, all right. Well, we just need to get. I'm just trying to think through this carefully, because once I split it all up, I just want to reduce the amount of backtracking that I've got to do. But I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot. Yeah. Let's delete that. All right, so I'll just set my render settings here. So yeah, I'll use the file name. So go for RGB, we'll go 16. I don't really need that much bit depth. 8's fine for now. If I get into grading and I'm like, I need it, I can always render it again, because that's the beauty of Eevee. It's so quick. Cool, compositing, all that stuff's fine. Yep. All good. Type stretching, frame range. One thing we could do is let's render an image here. We could. I do want to add a little bit of texture to this. So there's no reason why we can't switch this to my viewer node, image editor, render result. I'll grab the viewer node, plug this in, and then we can actually grab the viewer node. And then let's grab a lens distortion node, and I will pop this here, and I can add jitter. And jitter is going to add noise to my render, which can help just give it a little bit more of a sense of realism. I can also disperse, do a little bit of dispersion. That will do the lens dispersion here at the corners. Like if you go 0.1, you'll really see it. So it like splits things up on the RGB. So just do a tiny bit. Two can mute. Or also just see the effect of it. Doing a lot, 0.05. There we go. I just wanted to see it touch the RGB split. Jitter, that's all good. Yep. I don't want to do a grade because it's going to be different on every shot, and that can mess you over if you're not careful. So, but I will leave this. I want that little bit of grain, so it looks good. Okay, so now I'll save this, and what I'll do is I'll leave this as is. Well, that's fine, And yep, cool. Let's get rid of this because we don't need it. Let's go this to view layer. And let's go back to the 3D viewport. And let's grab these guys one at a time. So we'll just go link to copy. And again, establishing wide. Paste that there. And I'll come here. Paste that. And paste that. That all stays the same. And then I make sure establishing wide is the collection that's turned on. And then come down here and I'll just delete all the unnecessary markers. And I need to get the right frame. What was it? It was 50. Now that I've deleted all of them, 58. End at 58. There is another way you could do this. Like we could come over here and say, I want a new scene. Copy settings. So you have this like fresh scene. Call this edit. And then what you can do with this is just use the sequencer. So if we pull up the video sequencer, switch this to sequencer and preview, I can shift A and I can add these scenes. So I can add this scene and I can shift S to get it there. And then what I can do is I can kind of duplicate the edit. So I can come to frame, what is it? Here we go, 50, 58. It's the end frame here. This guy. Oh, it actually cuts it off for me. That's nice. So yeah, the next frame it's off. And then we can render from here. Is that going to work? Does that work? To turn on sequencer. This will render each shot, though, as one big thing. Yeah, I don't think I want to do it this way. Because what if, like, I just want to change and edit. If I slip it here, change and edit, just like trim off a few frames, still have to re-render the entire thing to get those frame counts to work, which is not what we want to be doing. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of that idea. Back to the 3D viewport, back to the camera. All right, let's just knock this out. So establishing wide, it's all good. And then come up to master scene, copy, grab my next camera. It's going to be here. Copy. Paste. And again, and then we're going to turn off this lighting set and we'll use this one instead. And let's marker jump to previous marker. Frame 59 will be our start. And then jump to next marker. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And then I can get rid of those, get rid of that. And we should be good there. And then we can come over to this next one. So go back to the master scene and another link to copy. Next camera. Let's peek out. Paste. Good. Just makes me nervous, like that I'm missing something somewhere. It's going to come back to bite me. All right. Peek out V2. That's what we wanted. Marker, jump to previous marker. 124. 4. And then marker, jump to next marker. We got 212. Go. Could use a rim light on that. 212. And then we can get rid of these markers. We technically don't need the 1 even, but we'll leave that. Okay, back to master scene. And we're going to create another linked copy. Next camera, which is the POV. Copy. Paste. Paste. And paste. So I need to grab, turn off the lights. POV. There we go. And that's all good. Marker to previous 213. And then marker jump to next 251. And then we can get rid of all these guys and all these guys. And then back to the master scene. Another linked copy. Probably write an add-on that does this. And this is back to peek out B1. Oh, this is interesting. So what we can do with this is like we could go to, so when is this shot in from this angle? So 280. So we go to peek out and we could set the end time to 280. It's going to render like a lot of extra frames we might not need, but it does give us a little bit of extra, like for an edit, you know, like we could technically, you know, render out enough to do stuff like this. We can like find better cut points between these things. In some ways that might be a smarter idea. So we can really refine the edit. I'm tempted to do it. But I don't know. It's up to you. If you were doing this on your own, you can make the call yourself. I am tempted. Although I do like our edit. I think it works, but just probably tighten it up a little bit, a few of the spots. Like this is kind of nice seeing this shot from here, isn't it? Like when he peeks out, it's kind of a good moment. Start at frame 97. And I might go until frame 312. Why not? We can always come back and get more. See if any of these others would be good. It's a bit of extra. This one's got a pretty hard start with the camera. Yeah, I might get this whole jump because we might find a nice cut point in there. So let's go to 169 for this. Establishing wide. Now this one has got a continuous move. We could extend the move down so that it kind of just keeps going on its trajectory and covers this whole action. Like if we look at the camera, the way you can do something like this is if you look at the curves. Let's see. Go to normalize, that way I can see these guys a bit better. So what you would do in this kind of situation to go, okay, I want this camera to keep going at the same trajectory all the way out to here. You can come here to the camera and you could set a keyframe just for everything. And then what you can do is grab these one at a time and kind of line up the angle. So I can grab Y and pull this up until it's looks like a straight line. And then X. And then let's try Z. And now because we got keyframes right at the end of that frame, we're never going to mess up our original camera. That looks fine, looks fine, looks fine. Now it's like one really smooth, continuous move. So if I extended my frame range out to say here, I don't even think we'll see a bump. Turn it off. Render view. Yeah, so it feels like a nice continuous camera now. It captures the same spirit of what we had. Great, 165, that'll be where we go for this one. Awesome. All right, where do we leave off? POV. We got these guys. So they do a snap up. So we have to be careful with this because we got motion blur turned on. This first frame will be crazy with motion blur. So because this is broken out into its own separate copy, like its own version of the scene, we can make changes in here without affecting the original hierarchy. So we would just find the characters, the master droid controller, and go back to the dope sheet. So you can see we've got this jump in these keyframes. Now, if we delete this on frame 212, so it shouldn't cause issues in our main one. In fact, we can just come here and delete everything. So now they just start up over there. Now we won't get any weird motion blur. Now let's just jump back to like what on our establishing wide. Okay, so look at that. It killed them. So that's a case where using the link copy is not a good idea. Can you take a scene and make it not a linked copy? Like once you data path. Can I go to my scenes and find POV objects? Can I make local? So I can make local or make a single user, an individual object. So probably what we can do, let's see if this works. Let's go to the droid master controller, right click it, and go ID data, make local. Nothing's going to visibly change about it, but now we delete those keyframes. All right. Well, you get the gist of what I'm trying to pull off here. I'm not going to bore you by continuing the stream. We worked it all out. We know what we're going to do now. We just have to break these guys out. I'll probably have an autosave that I can grab. Autosave. Let's see, 6, 7, 59. That's not going to be it. Is there not one for? No. Right. So back to view layer. So the plan is I'm going to do what I was just doing in front of you guys. I'll redo that stuff. And so I'll just set up a new scene for each, a new link scene for each one. I will probably not, I may even do just full copies. If you do a full copy, then it's not linked anymore. They're all separate scenes. And I'll just know that it's like, if I make any changes, I got to make them in the master scene. This is just to clean up any motion blur artifacts. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. And I can export. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go through each of these scenes and render from that scene each time. So I'll start with the first one and I'll just go render animation and let it render through, and it'll render out that shot and save it all for me. And then I'll be good to go, and I'll have handles on the shots that I want, and then I can bring those into a piece of editing software and cut it in just the right way to get it all to come together. Yeah, and then we're on to sound effects and stuff. So anyways, that means that we've gotten to the point where the first scene of the film is done. It's ready to go. So we can hit the big render button and pump it out. So let me go ahead and set the stage for what's next. So naturally, we've got two more scenes. We've got the the down in the basement area, the big elaborate scene there, and then we've got the next one up. I'm probably going to. I'm debating whether or not to continue this format in these live streams for the second half of the film, because I wanted to teach you guys how to do this stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do these summary videos to get a sense of like, okay, this is how you do layout, this is how you do lighting. Just turn something into more of a short, condensed lesson. And I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do the rest of the film. If I want to continue putting the pressure on myself to do these as live streams, or if I'm just going to finish off the series off stream for myself. I'll still record them, but I'm just debating what to do with that. So let me know what you think. If these have been really great for you and you've enjoyed watching them, let me know. They're kind of trending just a bit poorly, so I'm just not sure what the audience wants, what everybody's keen on. So naturally, you guys are here, so I assume you like these. Hope you've enjoyed them so far. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to call it quits for the night, but very excited to hit the big render button and get a fully rendered version of this scene out so we can all watch it. That'll be fun. We'll do some kind of, I don't know, premiere or something for it. I'll put some music and sound effects in there. Possibly. I might just do music. I don't know if we need sound effects. I mean, we got to do sound effects. It depends on how much time I've got. Anyways, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And it's really good to get to do this with you. So stay tuned for the next one. I'll catch you later. Have a